Hello, everybody. I would like to explain why Owen Benjamin has not gone off the rails by doing what he has done on social media. I'll use a hierarchy of needs as a foundation of understanding of this. I will talk about Owen Benjamin and Tommy Robinson and how these two people were affected by what I call a mobile gulag, and why, gone unchecked, these groups can bring in sadism, death, destruction, and very, very wicked things. Let's get to Owen Benjamin first. Why he's right about the danger going after Cummings, Theo Vaughn, and people like that. In the hierarchy of needs, every layer of need is stacked upon another, starting from the foundational need to the highest need. Biological and physiological needs, safety needs. These two bottom needs are both basic. These needs not being met makes you not even feel human at all. Maybe not even animal if you're treated bad enough. Or people purposefully stopping you from fulfilling these needs for yourself can be considered inhumane by most governments and laws. Love and belongingness and esteem needs. These needs are psychological and are also pretty basic in a mental and emotional way. If these needs are not met, it will be painful for the person. The same part of the brain that registers physical pain also registers emotional and psychological pain. So these will really affect the person in a basic way also. And there's cognitive and aesthetic needs. These needs are emotional psychological overlap with the next group, transcendental needs. Some of these needs are necessary for mental health, but some also help for transcending and getting your full potential in your life. Then there's a transcendent needs that are self-actualization and transcendent itself. These tend to just be about having the best life you can. Except I had one exception to the list. The religion for Christians is on the foundational row of this list. It is with biological and physiological needs, whereas religion in this list is on the transcendent needs. If you're a Christian, you believe the religion comes before you because it's so important. Now, let's get to Owen's case. Let's see what happened. He was fired from CA, that agency. He was all on his own. That is attacks for his security of a future. Rumors fly around and labels get put on him that threaten his ability to work. Put death threats on top of that, and these attacks both hurt his bottom levels from shelter, safety, and food, and the next level, the psychological level, from safety in that way too. If he loses his job, he might not be able to buy food, but he also doesn't feel like he's safe if he's getting death threats. So you have both those levels of safety: the actual physical safety and the psychological safety. This is exactly what these kind of attackers want. They want to dehumanize you in public and dehumanize you even to yourself. By taking away these foundational needs of a human being, they isolate you and they try to make you feel like your safety is constantly in danger. Which, if you go to a regular gulag, they do all the time. Also, these are things they take away from in a regular gulag too, to dehumanize you, so you won't fight back when you leave the prison. So you'll be a good little worker without being too much a problem. Tommy Robinson was completely isolated, which makes it a way more extreme attack because he didn't have the ability to contact people and have at least some emotional safety and some anchor points for him to feel safe. And when you're in that kind of isolation, the attackers become more extreme and more bold. Even cowards get bold in that situation. When they know you're alone and you can't fight back. When they know they have the overwhelming odds and you're at their whim, I guess is the best way to put that. So now let's see what he couldn't be let's see what he couldn't trust in his situation. He couldn't trust what he could eat because they were preparing meals for him, threatening him at the same time. So are you going to eat the food they give you? There was no safety there. He has thrown stuff at him. There were threats all around. He didn't know if he could trust the guards because remember the guards put him in this situation, or at least the people who own the guards put him in this dangerous situation. So if you have this police force and this mayor and this governor and this president, that's when they put you in a situation that's dangerous for you purposefully to show you what they could do to you. That's not a place where you feel safe. Even the guards you feel like are against you. All he had going for him on this whole list was shelter and warmth. That's it. He wasn't getting rained on. It wasn't freezing cold, and he had some sort of shelter. That's all he had. Which I don't know how much of that he had. We need to find out. But at least he had that possibly going for him. We really don't know. He hasn't had a full, interview yet. And I know with PTSD, you kind of want to feel secure and you kind of want to feel safe. And trust me, I've had PTSD and complex PTSD created by harassment and being in a constant form of danger like that can give you multiple flashbacks, can give you flashbacks for reasons you don't even understand because it goes so deep in your conscience that your conscience feels like it could get murdered when you possibly don't know or you possibly are unsure of what's happening. Trust me, it gets really wicked when it gets down to that level. Having nothing on the bottom of this list means the tiers up the list are much weaker and may not be able to support someone for long. So he would have like an emotional connection with his wife and his kids and possibly people who are supporting him. But it's extremely hard in that situation to keep who you are. I went through a more extreme version of Tommy Robinson's attack situation. Let me give you a picture of what is happening here. The English government put Tommy Robinson inside a mobile gulag where they took his humanity away using very bad people called jihadis and called groomers of children. Now, these, like I said, also include child predators, which each government seems to back harassing Tommy. Now, having it in jail or prison puts a few limiters on what can be and who can be involved in this attack and how controlled the attack is by somebody sort of overlooking the attack. Put this attack backed by government officials or the government outside the control of the prison, and let's ask a few questions. Do you think the Gulag guards, or what would be the jihadis in the situation, and the pedophile adults, or inmate attackers would all follow the same rules outside of the prison? If the government said to those guys, "Do whatever you want to Tommy Robinson," do you think they'd follow the same rules? What if they could use one of the children they abused to help rape Tommy Robinson or abuse him in some way? Would have they used them? Of course they would have. That would have dehumanized him even more. I mean, if you could rape a person with a child and nobody cares, and the government actually gives you backing with that, this would be sexual abuse with the government stamp of approval. Now, the government does not have to be intimately involved in every part of the attack, only overseeing it and making sure Tommy loses and gets destroyed. This gives a permanent get out of jail free card for the predators and the jihadists who would help them hurt Tommy, no matter what their actions were. They would be believed and Tommy would be silenced. I am the canary in the coal mine in this type of situation. This kind of attack was used against me emotionally and psychologically. Pretty much emotionally and psychologically murdered me so many countless times. And that's where a lot of my PTSD flashbacks come from, I figured. I finally found out. I was told the attacks that were used against me was going to be studied and used later on, and more attacks would be created from it. Now, I assumed the attacks would be used against conservatives because whenever he started to use against me, unions were involved, a lot of leftists were involved, a lot of progressive people, kind of people were involved. So I assumed this was going to be attack against conservatives and the right. And from what I've seen of the rules that are now being installed in basic normal, or trying to be installed, let's say, in basic normal discourse, the rules are there to silence people. And to silence the people they want to silence. It's easy to see now, but I was saying this in 2003 this was going to happen. Nobody listened. I see so many of these tactics used against me, and so many times against the right. I also see where the attacks, if going checked, will eventually lead to. They will lead to abuse of children. They will lead to a uninformed public that doesn't care about other people around it. They lead to China, really. If you look at Goa's lynching, where there were people harassing his children and nobody cared, no one tried to stop it. It was his problem and his problem alone. That's what it leads to. Tammy Robinson is just a warning shot, and so is now our national discourse and how our rules are of society. This is just a warning shot. This is just the beginning. It can get so much worse. I have seen what an American hell looks like. I have experienced it. So good luck to you and the Bears, to Owen and Tommy, and thanks for listening.